Hi, good morning. In today's video, we'll be discussing about the internal control framework. As an overview, we'll be checking what is COSO framework, the history of COSO framework, the 5 components of internal control, COSO framework's 17 principles of effective internal control, and benefits and the limitations of the COSO framework. So, what is internal control? This is a process designed and affected by the board of directors, senior management, and all levels of personnel to provide reasonable assurance regarding the achievement of objectives in the following categories, such as reliability of financial reporting, their compliance with applicable laws and regulations, and the effectiveness and efficiency in operations. So, the internal control integrated framework helps organizations connect their internal controls to their business process. For an example, banks have in place adequate and effective internal control framework for the conduct of their business, taking into account their size, risk profile, and complexity of operations. As for the history of COSO framework, one of the known frameworks in history, it reaches back to 1992, wherein the Committee of Sponsoring Organizations, known as COSO, met to create a more significant relationship between the risk and the business landscapes. So here are the 5 components of COSO Cube. First is control environment, second risk assessment and management, third control activities, fourth information and communications, and the last is monitoring. So let's discuss first on the control environment. Here, organizations should verify that their business processes met industry risk standards by testing all of the controls. By doing so, this ensures that all activities are done responsibly, reducing an organization's legal liability. So, organizations should also work to meet all regulatory compliance requirements. The second one would be risk assessment and management. So we all know that risks are inevitable, so that doesn't mean that organizations should ignore them. So businesses can minimize the possibility of this risk by putting a plan in place to manage and mitigate those risks. So this process should be ongoing or even automated so that organizations can identify new risks as they emerge from time to time. Next would be control activities. This is an integral part of risk management, wherein ensuring that all business activities tie back to internal controls. Those controls should both support business performance and reduce the organization's to risk exposure. The fourth one would be information and communication. So, communication also needs to follow strict requirements, especially if the business size is real big. So, various legal, ethical, and industry standards apply to internal and external communications. Privacy policies and other application controls are examples of how organization can apply controls to communication processes. The last one would be monitoring. Risk can evolve as organization systems do. So, yeah, monitoring ensures that these changes don't expose the organization to risk. So, an internal auditor is usually responsible for this, but external auditors often monitor organizations in relation to regulatory compliance. So, both auditors will ultimately report to the board of directors. So, here are the 17 principles of effective internal control, and we can notice that each principles is under the 5 components that we have discussed earlier. So you can take a note of this. So yeah, aside from that, we also have the benefits and limitations of the COSO framework. So yeah, one of the benefit of it is it standardized business processes. This improves the organization efficiency and centralized data while also reducing the risk. However, there are also limitations such as its rigid structure. So this one, the COSA framework has a particular structure, and many organizations could fall into multiple categories within the framework. This makes it difficult for businesses to identify the best path forward for their teams. Another limitations of COSA framework is that it is challenging to implement. We all know that COSO framework is broad by design. While this allows many different types of organization to follow the framework, though it lacks specific guidelines in implementing and maintaining the framework over a long period of time. So organizations struggle to adopt the framework because if they don't already have an effective risk management strategy, yeah, they struggle to adopt. Then the last is the benefit of COSA framework. Of course, it reduces the cost of the business or the company. When all teams follow the same set of internal controls, business becomes more efficient. Many organizations that follow the COSA framework act more strategically, which allows them to reduce costs over time. So yeah, that's it for now. Thank you for watching my video.